I never started it, so yeah, it'll people that yeah, it should hit it. I ain't been
All right,
not today. So
I'll see if
we're
I get
live
an
now.
alert on my phone.
What's up, everybody? My bad. I think I'm a little late. I apologize. My team just told me they were like, I thought the show didn't start till 9. Apparently, I had it scheduled to 8. Welcome, 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 everybody. They were like, we've been here for a while. I was like, fuck, my bad. My bad. How's everybody doing tonight? What's up? What's up? Welcome, welcome. Come on in. Come on in. We're going to learn a little bit tonight. We're going to learn some history, a little bit of history about New York Central Park. Just some back history that was going to it. We've been on this little kick of learning things because I believe it's good. What the fuck am I looking for? Hold on, y'all. Give me a second. I'm still discombobulated. This red with this screen and stuff is not kind of for me. All right, here we go. Well, let's see. Not too much, but all right, there we go. Now we match. What's up, everybody? What's up, everybody? Again, I apologize for being late. Welcome, welcome. This is Hot Mess Summer Show. We have been on a little thing of just wanting to learn different history. And I remember learning about the story of Tulsa, and I just wanted. I've known about it for a little bit, but I remember, like, I don't know. I just feel like people need to learn about things like this because a lot of people don't know things like this, and it didn't just happen in Tulsa. And sometimes that's like kind of what people talk about. And it's like, well, it's actually happened a lot more than just Tulsa. We've learned a couple different places already, and so tonight we're going to cover some things in Central Park. I am going to do a couple. Let me do a little before I start my videos or anything. I'll go ahead and put my copyright disclaimer up there, my fair use thing. We will be putting, CK, will you make sure that the links get put in the comments tonight? We will be putting the links to every single video that we play in the comments, and I ask you guys to go and please like and subscribe their videos, every single person's videos that we're going to be learning from. I believe in the theory of like there's no reason to reinvent the wheel kind of concept. And there's people out there that have studied these things and learned, and have a great way of giving them. And so I think it's awesome that we can just kind of watch their videos. Again, it's just I never want to mess up history, especially history that I feel like people need to learn. Because I know a lot of times we say, like, I don't know. We just think we have it in our mind why things are a certain way, and a lot of people. There's been a lot of social unrest for the last couple of years, and a lot of people stood up because they're tired of the BS that's still going on. And so these videos and these each time we go over these lessons, it's what I mean. It's we get to learn, and it's continuing to happen, and so we're going to go ahead and play this first video. And then I will stop in between a little bit and talk a little bit, but I don't want to talk too much because this work is amazing. And I think it's good to learn. So we're going to go ahead. I don't know if I like this layout. Hold on, y'all. Let's see. And hello, CK. Everybody say hey to CK. He's kind of helping me out as
Hello,
always.
hello.
He's kind of like there we go. I'll try that. All right, so we're going to go ahead and start this first video. The video has been put in the comments, and so you could please go like, subscribe, and you can follow them, follow because they put tons of things out. So go ahead, CK.
This is Central Park. It's an iconic part of New York City, a piece of nature tucked inside Manhattan. If you've lived in New York or even visited, you've probably been here.
But there's a part of this land story that visitors will never see.
It's the story of what was here before the park and the community that was destroyed to make way for it. In the 1820s, New York City looked like this. Most people lived in this area, Lower Manhattan. Pretty much everything above it was yet to be settled. In this map, you can see how different the geography was. These little lines illustrate what used to be hills in Manhattan. This was the countryside. Downtown was the opposite. Lower Manhattan was dense and crowded. A few small neighborhoods were home to many of the city's poor whites and immigrants, and also to much of its Black population. This document shows the number of slaves in New York State. You can see how it went down gradually from 20,000 in 1800 to 10,000 in 1820, and finally to just 75 in 1830. That's because in New York, slavery wasn't abolished all at once. Instead, it was ended over about 30 years. And as more free Black people joined the workforce, racial tensions rose.
The people who were enslaved were now in competition with people coming over for jobs.
That tension led to violence, and Lower Manhattan became increasingly dangerous for free Black people. Then, in 1825, plots of land started to go up for sale here, uptown. It was a way out. A Black man named Andrew Williams decided to buy 3 lots.
Word gets out, Black people seeing other Black people and saying, oh, there's a little bit of a community developing here. Maybe we can just fold into this community. So they start to move in.
After Williams, more lots filled up with Black families and churches.
And it was here, between 82nd and 89th Street, that the community of Seneca Village was born.
Moving up to Seneca Village offered Black families an affordable, safe place. It also gave them the chance to vote. Black men could only vote in New York if they owned property. Over the course of the next 3 decades, the community grew to nearly 300 residents. Records from the census show that they were laborers, domestic workers, waiters, and shoemakers. And they built dozens of homes, 3 churches, and a school for Black students. Later, when Irish and German immigrants started moving into Seneca Village, it became unique for another reason.
It was an integrated community. It seems that people of all ethnicities were likely getting along based on the church records that were here.
Among the documents are evidence that some white and Black families attended baptisms together, were buried next to each other in the same cemetery, and intermarried.
Can you pause it for me, CK?
The people who lived.
I'm just pausing it because I want to make sure that I do this the right way. Pat, thank you for coming. How are you doing tonight? Hope's in the house. How are you doing? Tonight we are learning a little bit about Central Park's history. We have a couple videos that we're going to be playing. We do have the links in the chats. Please go like and subscribe each creator's videos, because we definitely want to give them credit for what they've done, the work that they've done. I do not believe in reinventing the wheel. I am very good at what I do, which is, combating, fighting anti-human trafficking. I love learning about history. I think that this is history that needs to be learned because it's not taught. And if it is taught, it's whitewashed. And so each one of these videos, they have really put the work in, and they really I just think they do a great job of bringing you straight facts and knowledge. So we're going to go back to the video. You can push play.
In this area were individuals who were trying to find a new way of life.
Over the next 3 decades, the population of New York City nearly quadrupled. Lower Manhattan could no longer hold everyone. The city's white elite were worried that the entire island would be consumed by development. They said it called for the necessity of a city park to give lungs to the city.
This came out of the elite being able to start to travel to Europe, and they see the Champs-Élysées and they see Kensington Park, and they think that the city deserves to have a park of that stature.
On July 21st, 1853, New York set aside 750 acres of land to create America's first major landscaped public park, the Central Park. But the proposed area for the park included Seneca Village, along with thousands of other lots of land, home to about 1,600 people. In order to facilitate the park's development, the city's newspapers started to downplay who really lived there.
They really described these people as living in shanties and shacks. People of debased cultures were living off the land. But
that wasn't true. In 2011, Cynthia and a team of archaeologists excavated in the former Seneca Village site. They came away with 250 bags of objects to analyze, which now live here in New York City's Archaeological Repository. These objects suggest that Seneca Village was wealthier than many assumed.
When we compare the objects from the homes of the people in Seneca Village with artifacts from Greenwich Village, an elite upper middle class neighborhood, in some cases they were using the same kind of ironstone plate in what was called the Gothic pattern.
Quite a few pieces of porcelain in Seneca Village, and porcelain was an expensive ware.
They also found other objects like a comb, a smoking pipe, roasting pan, and part of a toothbrush that probably didn't belong to poor people.
Toothbrushes were not common among the.
I find this really interesting because I've been to in the area where they've talked about. A lot of people have been visit Central Park and things like that. And actually, I was up there just a couple of years ago, and you know, I think about what I see when I'm up there now, and then I'm learning this stuff. It's just I don't know, man. It's crazy how things change. It's crazy how, you know, gentrification and things can really, really, really change a neighborhood. What do you think so far, CK?
Yeah, I didn't know anything about this. I just thought it was a park.
Yeah, I did too. I really did. I was like, because I mean, I was, like I said, I was up there not that long ago when we did the Maxwell trial or whatever, you know, we did a rally up there. And so we actually went to Central Park. And I mean, it's nice. It's beautiful. It's nice to have that, you know, that area. At least this is what I thought before I watched this video. Have that area in such a hustle bustle area. But then you learn this kind of stuff and it's just like, man, I don't know. It's weird. All right, go ahead. I'm glad we're learning this stuff.
Working class as well as the middle class until around 1920.
And the artifacts themselves were only one part of their analysis.
For example, from the census records from 1855, we know that there was a very high level of education.
Getting a high school education was clearly an important factor in the community, and that's very much a part of middle class identity.
The findings indicate that Seneca Village wasn't a shanty town. It was a working and middle class community, a growing neighborhood of Black property owners, and an experiment in integration. But to the white New York elite of 1856, it wasn't worth saving. A July 1856 article in the New York Times referred to it with a slur. The Eben inhabitants, after whom the village is called, have been notified to remove by the 1st of August. Many residents fought to keep their land by filing objections to their forced removal. But Seneca Village, along with the other settlements on the land for Central Park, was seized and destroyed. In their place, the city made pathways, built bridges and arches, and planted thousands of trees. Central Park was done, and Seneca Village was gone forever.
We can't imagine New York City without Central Park, but I'm finally grateful that the recognition of the pre-park history has emerged.
Today, New York is starting to reckon with this part of its history. An exhibition with information about Seneca Village is temporarily up in the park. But the real legacy of Seneca Village is a story that's repeated itself again and again in cities everywhere.
Land, property ownership, that's how you get wealth, and you pass wealth on from generation to generation. But you're getting a bulldozer that comes through because a new highway has to come through, or a new hospital or development site has to come in. Seneca Village was no different. It's time that we own it and we come to recognize that there are these great stories that live beneath the surface of the park. It's not just African American history, it's just American history.
That was a really good video. I like that. I like being able to learn this stuff. And you know, it's crazy because, again, we're kind of going through that right now. Our city, especially in the downtown area, the West End area, Portland area, like all that, I guess you could say like poor areas are a lot of things are going up. And don't get me wrong, there are things going up that we need, right? Like the West End is getting a hospital. That's amazing. You know, the West End should have been done had a hospital. But there are people that, you know what I mean, like have to sell their homes and things like that. And you know, I mean, owning a home can change things for a family. And so I think it's really important. And it's sad that yeah, you know, they say that gentrification, you know, builds up communities and things like that, but there's a lot of people that lose their things and their homes and their history and their community and everything like that. And it's sad to see that, you know, like I can literally say that I can see this happening in my community right now. You know what I mean? And to know that, you know, places like, I mean, this has gone on forever, which, you know, anybody that knows about gentrification knows that. And really, it's just I don't know. I feel like you can still upgrade things without taking things from people. It's about who owns the businesses that come in. And that too, right? Because if the communities can't, I don't see, like I said before, I don't see nothing wrong. You know, I mean, living in Chicago, there's, you know, everybody has their own thing. Italians, Irishes, everybody, you know, like you got Chinatown, like, yeah, everything. There's nothing wrong. I see nothing wrong with Black people being able to have a community and owning businesses and property. And I think that's a beautiful thing. I think that makes a community stronger. So it's just, I don't know, man. Crazy. So we're going to go ahead. CK is going to drop this link to the second video that we're going to play. And this, again, kind of same path, just learning things. There's just a couple different videos that I've seen, and I thought they were really good. I thought they explained a lot of things. I do think it's cool the way, even though it's sad, it's like one of those things that's bittersweet, right? Because you know that these artifacts and toothbrushes and plates and different things like that are being left behind. That's people's, you know, that was things, they're things. You know what I mean? But it is also kind of cool when you see stuff that's from a long time ago and it's been dug up and you can kind of look at it. And to me, it just makes things more real. And I think about like all those different things that I see out and about, and you know what people from later on will dig up, and I don't know, but yeah. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and play number 2 video, and thank you guys for joining us tonight again. I do think that you know, history is very important to learn, you know, and there is a lot of different history that is just not told the right way, and it's whitewashed. And people always say, like, you know, get over it, get past it. No, people can't get over it. We're not going to get past it. You don't remove history. You don't act like it didn't happen. You acknowledge it. You learn from it. You're accountable for it, and then people can heal and move forward, so you don't make the same mistakes. I think that's why things continue to keep happening, because people are not willing to learn. You know, so we're gonna learn. So thanks for being here tonight. Go ahead and play the video.
Hello and welcome back. In this Black Excellence presentation, we want to pay homage to a forgotten chapter in New York City history, Seneca Village.
Welcome to blackexcellence.com, the site where we share Black excellence, opulence, and affluence.
And please go to their page and like and subscribe if you can.
Central Park, the nation's first great municipal park, is the shining monument of New York City. It is where residents go to walk or jog, touch nature, and get a fresh breath of air. Without Central Park, life in the nation's biggest city would be pure hustle and bustle, unhealthy, and plagued by air and noise pollution. It's difficult to imagine a progressive city evicting a well-established minority community after arbitrarily paying its residents for their possessions. But that's how Central Park was made, with most newspapers cheering the removal of what they called the insects. In this original Black Excellence video, we will be featuring Seneca Village, the first significant settlement of Black property owners who were forced out to make way for Central Park. So without further ado, let's get started. Seneca Village began in 1825 as a community of Blacks when landowners in the area, John and Elizabeth Whitehead, subdivided their land and sold it as 200 lots. Andrew Williams, a 25-year-old African-American shoe shiner, bought the first 3 lots for $125. Epiphany Davis, a store clerk, bought 12 lots for $578, and the AME Zion Church purchased another 6 lots. From there, a community was born. From its modest beginnings, the village had grown over 3
God, could
decades
you
to
imagine?
include as many as 300 residents, numerous homes and gardens, 3 churches, 2 schools, and 3 cemeteries. 70% of the residents were African American and 30% were Irish American. Over half of residents owned their own homes, and the settlement counted several distinguished citizens. And with property ownership came other rights not commonly held by African Americans in the city, namely the right to vote. It was the epicenter of Black political power and the epitome of Black excellence. But the backstory that needs to be underscored is that discrimination was still prevalent throughout New York City and severely limited the lives of African Americans. Many of us had subscribed to the fiction that Jim Crow was limited to the South, but at one time, New York City was the epicenter of the slave trade, holding more Africans in chains than any other city in the country, with the possible exception of Charleston, South Carolina. Despite New York State's abolition of slavery in 1827, it was one of the last northern states to abolish America's evil subjugation. But white New Yorkers continued to relentlessly attack African American institutions, torching churches and blocking efforts to build Black schools. Racial terrorism worsened after African Americans would soon be legally free. Slave catchers who roamed the streets seeking to kidnap both free Black people
Can
and
you pause that
fugitive
for a second?
slaves were a persistent hazard.
So as I'm listening to this, I'm sitting in my car. That way I can kind of be quiet and really like just give my full attention to this, right? And so I'm sitting here and I'm listening, and I hear, how churches have been burned up and businesses are being burned up and things like that. And I can't help but to think about the 2020 protest as someone that's I was in the front line of the 2020 protest, right? And I fully well understood what we were standing up and fighting for, because people are tired, right? Like people are tired of seeing their loved ones being shot and killed in the middle of the street by, people that are supposed to be protecting everyone. We're tired of people saying it's for everybody, but it's not for everybody. Like we're just tired. So when we stand up and protest, right? And it's because we're tired. We're tired of watching. I don't want, yes, I don't want my children to be hurt. I don't want my husband to be hurt, right? So I go out and fight. What happened to Breonna obviously was wrong. So we go out and fight. We stand up. But I'm hearing how like communities are trying to build and trying to do the things, right? Build schools and churches and own blocks and properties to where that can really make a community flourish. And because they're flourishing, they're attacked. I don't know. I just thought I'd throw that out there because that was something that I just was like, when you're trying to build and you're trying to do things the right way, you're attacked. So then when you stand up, because like what, I don't know what was said back then when these things happened, but I can only imagine probably nothing. Obviously, these cities are gone. So, it happened. And like when we stand up, we're called, thugs and all this other stuff, but we're just standing up to be able to have some, I don't know, rights, or felt like we matter, or you know what I mean? Like, so I don't know. It was just something that I wanted to bring up. Go ahead. It may be nothing to nobody, but I caught that.
Hazard. No Negro was safe. For African Americans, Seneca Village offered the opportunity to live in an autonomous community far from the densely populated downtown and the racial violence throughout. Seneca Village's remote location likely provided a refuge from this climate. It also would have provided an escape from the crowded conditions of the city and access to more space both inside and outside the home. Despite its short history of only 32 years, Seneca Village is understood as a tight-knit community that served as a stabilizing and empowering force in uncertain times. However, the city's prosperity was cut short when the city cleared the way for its hallowed park by evicting the Black residents of the land. New York City politicians and their minions in the press set the stage for what they labeled as the Negro removal and went through great lengths to defame the flourishing enclave as a shanty town and rundown community. This country has long embraced an explicit policy of labeling vibrant working class areas slums to justify tearing them down. The city used eminent domain to displace the residents and others, paying the Seneca villagers what it felt was the market value of the land. Some were paid as little as $700 per lot. Ultimately, the Black residents were disenfranchised, forced off their land. Less than 15 years after an eviction process that had been documented in the press and in the courts, some villagers filed lawsuits against the city, but were quickly defeated before the project was due to begin. Although we have limited knowledge of what life was like in Seneca Village, we know that the village occupied land along what is now Central Park's western edge, between roughly 83rd and 89th Streets. There is currently ongoing work to learn more about its residents and their lives. In 2011, archaeologists from Columbia University and the City University of New York conducted a dig of the site. They uncovered artifacts such as an iron tea kettle, a roasting pan, a stoneware beer bottle, fragments of Chinese export porcelain, and a small shoe with a leather sole and fabric upper. These items have helped us piece together what life was like for the village's residents. The city's current leaders have wisely seized on the Seneca Village revival to underscore the need for the remaking of the lily-white landscape of historical monuments in New York. The planned Central Park Monument will celebrate the heroic Lyons family, charter members of the New York City Free Black Elite who owned land in Seneca Village and ran a stop on the Underground Railroad in Manhattan that sheltered hundreds of escapees from slavery. By elevating this family, New York City is drawing an explicit connection between the aspirations that Seneca Village represented for the Black families who invested in property there and the racial terrorism that African Americans, including the Lyons family, often faced in crowded upstart Lower Manhattan. Today, there is almost no recorded trace of Seneca Village's population following the construction of Central Park, and no family members of the villagers have been identified. Nonetheless, ongoing research and archaeological digs continue to take place, hopefully uncovering more information about Seneca Village's past. But in the meantime, we want to salute all of the members of the Seneca Village community.
All right, you
We
can
want to
pause it.
learn
That's
more
the end of
about
this.
your daily life and your struggles.
Something that I find interesting too, because I'm one that like I think about like back then and then like now, right? And you know, in the beginning they said that it was 30% Irish and everybody else is Black, right? And so that makes me think like, okay, and that it would just be like the neighborhoods right now, right where we live at, that this is still going on, that these kind of things are still happening. And you know, it's why I always say it has much to do with just power, just as much to do with power and control, in my opinion, as it does with race. But definitely I feel it has a lot to do with power and control, because clearly it's what it is. Are they going to do anything for the families besides? Probably not. Peace. And that's another issue, right? Because there's and it's sad, but I'm just, you know, that's what seems like they did seem to, or that's what it seems like they're doing, is they're putting, you know, which I appreciate that, and I'm sure the families appreciate that too. But you know what I mean? Like, their families lost everything. There were people that lost their lives, you know, because of these incidents, and every single thing we're learning about. That's one thing that I'm realizing, and which, I mean, I kind of already knew that, but because it's still happening. But yeah, like, I would say that they deserve to have something like something. And I don't know what. I don't know what that looks like, right? But I know people that are really good at those conversations, and those kind of conversations need to happen. And for all the families in that community that was affected by that. So, do we have any more videos, CK? I can't remember.
Yeah, there's one more.
Okay, cool.
It's only 6.5 minutes long.
Okay. We'll watch that video, and then I don't know. We'll figure it out. Go ahead and play that video. Hopefully everybody's having a good night. What's up, Garrett and Sunshine and everybody? How you doing, Mama? I seen Hope in here. And all the people watching. How you doing? I mean, again, please, you guys, the links to these channels that we're showing are in the comments. please go and check them out. Please support them. Go like their pages, like their videos. All, you know, kind of, they have each one of these. Something I noticed, they all had really good videos on all kinds of different topics, and you know what I mean. There's nothing wrong. Knowledge is power, and understanding. I believe that if we can understand the real history of things, and that's why we're going to go over a couple things. You know, we've done this series, and we're going to do some other different things because I want to learn different things about different cultures and the real history of things. Because not only do I think, you know, obviously obviously I know that Black history is not being taught the proper way. But there's a lot of history, you know, like Irish slavery, that's not being taught the right way. Native American stuff, that's not being taught the right way. Tons of things about women's history. I mean, we can go and learn all kinds of different things. And so I believe that you can heal the world with culture and food. And you can also learn different things like this. And since, you know, that's what we do around here, let's play video number 3. Go for it, CK.
Seneca Village was a community of African American, Irish, and German immigrants that existed in the 19th century in an area that was known as the Free Park area. It was roughly between 82nd and 89th Streets, between 7th and 8th Avenues in New York City. There were about 300 people that lived in the community, particularly towards the end and towards its demise. And we've been on this mission to find descendants to help tell this story.
Andrew Williams was one of a number of African Americans who were free, and in 1825, Andrew Williams purchased land in Seneca Village for $120, which was a lot of money then.
Andrew Williams was one of the early settlers of Seneca Village. He was there in the very beginning and he was there at the very end. He was a bootblack. He shined shoes for a living. Later, he was a cartman. And he was someone that we were really, really interested in and really wanted to try to make connections.
I've been able to find 4 generations, and one of the descendants is Andrew Williams' great-great-great-great-granddaughter, the 4th great-granddaughter, Ariel Williams.
Cal Jones reached out, and I remember that first week of us connecting, we had so many calls and try to help him connect all these missing puzzle pieces and connect my entire family back to Seneca Village.
And she is like the family historian, and she gave me some understanding of everyone in the family. All the men were named Andrew Williams.
So the name Andrew Williams continually gets carried over throughout the entire family, and the only variation is the middle name changes. It's absolutely crazy that they all look alike, and the name is still carried out to this day, and my brother also being named Andrew Williams.
And the women had started with A rhyming and being as close to Andrew as possible, right down to Ariel. So it showed a lot of family pride. Andrew Williams was not a formally educated man, but he's a sharp man. You could see it in the moves that he made. He immediately protested.
Will you pause it for a second?
The takeover, first of all. But it's...
Sorry to keep pausing it, guys, but I just want to make sure that, you know, I'm trying to follow all the guidelines. I like this one because it has to do, it's showing a little bit of the family history of one of the people there, and that's something I kind of like doing when we can find stuff like that. So I really do appreciate this video, and please, the link is in the comments. You can go and like and subscribe to their videos. That would be awesome. All right, go ahead.
But it seemed as though he felt his property was worth about $4,000.
As the records show, Andrew Williams was offered an amount for his space in Central Park to get him out. And he responded to that request with a counter stating I should be at least given this much money. Unfortunately, that was not an agreement that was made, and they were actually given way less money and forced to leave the park.
So he did the protest, but of course it didn't matter. It didn't work. Then they took the property. He got paid $2,335 in April of '56. And by June of '56, he had purchased land in Newtown. So here's a man that he didn't waste any time.
Through kind of my studies and my understanding of the Williams family from all the research that I've done, we were very resourceful people. And with this new land, he was able to really start to invest in Andrew Williams II's education. He was the first one that was able to read and write, invest in other different things as well, and continue to be a property owner. And so after Andrew Williams II, Andrew Williams III was a very educated person, a musician as well, and actually traveled the world and attended what is now Columbia's music school today. And he had a son. They moved to California. My grandfather started a security business that my father worked with him on, and they're both in law enforcement. And we kind of grew up in California the rest of our lives.
What is really meaningful is to find a family in a time when it was very difficult for Blacks to survive, let alone free. And to see someone who was taking care of a family, working and saving his money, and always showing a sense of family.
Being in the park where Andrew Williams' house was located was really a little bit overwhelming in a good way, and that so many people would be interested in learning more about my story and about my family and our involvement with Seneca Village and where we went after that and what happened after that.
What Seneca Village has put in the focus for me is the importance of history.
History is just absolutely the center of everything that we do. It can have a profound effect on who we are as people.
Now I feel very connected to not only my father, but my family. I understand the pride behind my name and understand where I came from and the traits that I took from those people and why my father was the way he is and why I am the way I am today.
History is great. You have to know your history. You should know where you came from to know where you're going.
I definitely have to agree with Sunshine. That is a very powerful family. I think, and again, I just said it, history is everything, you guys. History is everything. We have to understand history. And the more we understand history and the more we understand people's cultures, the more we can understand each other. And then we can make this place a better place. It really, again, I will always say the systems and the politicians are not the answer. The people are the answer. And so that's why we've been doing these little series and try to learn some things. I don't know. What did you think, CK?
Man, that was good. They don't teach you that kind of shit in school.
Right.
Do you ever hear of a guy named Howard Zinn?
The name sounds familiar, but I'm not great with names, so I don't remember.
He wrote a book called The People's History.
Uh-huh.
And it's a history book. It's like 900 pages, I think. And it's a history book told by like indigenous and, Black people and minorities. And it's a history of the United States written from the perspective of, the people that don't own everything.
Right.
And that's what these videos are like kind of reminding me of.
That
That'd
would
be cool. Yeah, I'll have to find a video on that book.
Yeah, that'd be cool if we could do that.
Send it over to you.
I'd watch that. For sure. I think it's good to, I don't know, dude. The things that I see go on and the things that I see now and happening, today. And yes, this is my family's history. This is my husband's history. This is my kids' history. This is, the people around me, our community. I want to try, the next thing I want to try to do is because here in Louisville, there were slaves sold, like right where we protested. That was like the place that, people bought people. And so I want to try to find, I know we have history of it at Roots, and maybe our final show, and I'll try to, maybe that's what I'll do, is to go see if Mr. Lamont will kind of, I don't know, just give us some, because there's a lot of history here in Louisville. There's a there's a lot of history around in this country that's not being told and not being heard about it. We go to these places like Central Park, we learned about that tonight. And like I said, I was just there not that long ago, and I didn't know that stuff. I went to Central Park. It was the calm and the crazy city. So, but it's yeah, man, it's just, and I still see gentrification and happening to this day. Like it's happening in our communities right now. So let's see. P said perfect book to sit by the river and read. Yeah, that would be. What's up, Pat? Lindsay's in the house. How you doing, Lindsay? How you doing?
Hello, Lindsay. Troublemaker. That was an inside joke.
Yeah, but Julie's in the house. What's up, Julie? I'm playing poker tonight.
For sure.
I was playing poker tonight.
I'm gonna find I'm gonna put a link in here to this book so people can find it.
Okay, cool.
I'm gonna put it on. I didn't realize I get to write as you now.
Yeah, you remember how I was?
Should I get some revenge for what you did to me that night?
I wasn't even doing anything bad to you. I didn't even do anything bad. I was just writing at you and joking. You were tripping.
Yeah, literally.
Literally. So that's why you were like, what the fuck is going on?
Dude, I freaked out. I was like, am I typing?
Yeah, it was pretty funny. What's up, everybody? So, the beginning of our show, these last couple weeks, I've been trying to learn some things, teach some things, learn together about things that matter to me, and should matter to all of us, so it's been kind of nice. And then last night we had a really good show too. So if you didn't watch that, go check that out. I had a couple survivors of trafficking, and we did a review of the movie Sound of Freedom. So that was really good. And I think I got a couple of these up there too. Tulsa's on there. So there's some good videos if you just want to sit back and learn some stuff, just saying. Well, they haven't changed. I hit everything on the way down. No, I don't want to leave. What the hell? All right, let's see what this said. They haven't changed anything but tactics. Oh, 100%. 100%. Yes. Yeah. Like I said, this is stuff we're going through as we speak in our community. Yeah, my phone just dropped. Sorry. I come and sit in my car because I'm like, I can chill. I got a little heat on my seat, so it's a little bit more comfy. Always be kind. What's up, beautiful? We've just been covering some different stories on Black history that is not being told. Tonight we covered some history of Central Park, and so that's the beginning of the video. The first 40 minutes of this video. We covered Tulsa that happened. We covered Lake. What's the name of that lake? I forgot. I have a TBS, so I forgot. But we covered
Lanier. Was it
Lanier? Yes, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was it. And that was really good too. So I'm going to walk the dog. See you guys in a little bit. All right. Yeah. I think what I'm gonna do, if you guys want me to go live, I guess we could go live again. Otherwise, I'm probably just gonna end this because these I like to keep just kind of about what it is, that way people maybe can actually watch it and learn some things. But I guess if you guys want to go live, we can do a live tonight, or we can hang out in Discord. Do you guys? So, alrighty. What do you guys think? Should we do live later? I can go live again in like 30 minutes. I don't know. We'll figure it out. I'll let you guys know. I may go live again, but right now I'm going to go ahead and end this because I want to keep these shows kind of what it's about. So please go back and watch. They're very informative, and I do believe that it's something that we all need to learn, because we definitely have to learn the history, and the history that's not being taught in this country. Because you want to know why people are upset. You want to know why people are tired. You want to know why people want change. Well, this will give you a good reason, because this stuff is still going on. That's happened in these videos. And there's also families that are still alive that have been affected by this. So you can't just move on. It's not the way it works. Instead, we learn about it, we understand it, and we don't repeat it. That's why history continues to repeat itself. That's why these videos are, however many years, decades and decades ago, but they're still going on. Redlining is still happening. Gentrification is still happening. You know what I mean? All kinds of different things is still happening, because we refuse to really face the truth of what has happened in so many different communities, right? And we're gonna go this series. That's what it's about. Right now we're kind of covering just different things like Tulsa and stuff, and then I want to cover other different things about history, and we can learn together. And maybe you can teach your kids, because this stuff's not being taught, and it needs to be. So thank you everybody that stopped by. Please make sure you hit the thumbs up so we can get the thumbs up, because videos like this will push drama videos. Let's push the videos that'll actually help. You feel me? So love you guys. Respect. Everybody have a great night. Pat, love you, brother. And I will talk to y'all soon. We will have another learning video, hopefully, if everything goes right, Tuesday. That's the night that I try to do these on. But I got caught in a storm and all that last Tuesday, so we're doing it tonight. So just stay tuned. Look for the thumbnail. As you guys know, that's kind of how I do my shows. I do so many different topics that you'll see the thumbnail, and I'll make sure I schedule it before the night it happens. So everybody have a great night, and we will talk to y'all later. Hit the thumbs up. Holler at you, girl.